Hi guys, good evening. Welcome to my podcast W5 Wow Woman Winning Wonderful World. Friends, सोचने से कहाँ मिलते हैं तमन्नाओं के शहर, चलने की जिद भी जरूरी है मंजिलों के लिए. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, a great reformer who took great efforts to abolish practices of sati and child marriage. So, there are so many historians, reformers who spent their lives for reforming, but unfortunately, society hardly learns from their lives and wants to remember their teaching. There are so many avatars, reincarnations of these people who today also fight for reforming society. When we say society, of course, it is an entity, but basically not a single individual forms a society. It is people, 1, 2, 3 and continues. Any one person who is ruling the mob, his views are basically the views of society, and to surprise of all, majority of times evil views are views of society and good views are views of an individual. So today my podcast is on a wow woman, Nirmal Chandel, who initially was an individual, but 1, 2, 3 and so on till 16,000 is the number attached to her. Shamed for being widowed, she helped 16,000 women like her to find income and freedom. Nirmal Chandel, resident of Himachal Pradesh, was widowed at 23 and was shunned and insulted till she decided to take matters into her own hand to start Ekal Nari Shakti Sangathan (ENSS), which works for the upliftment of widowed, single and abandoned women by bringing in policy changes. Don't wear her clothes, you might also die. Have she completely lost her shame? A widow turning up for a wedding in colorful clothes in a bad omen. At what was supposed to be a joyous occasion, Nirmal Chandel was greeted with these insults instead. It was her brother's wedding in the year 1994 and the groom tross she had purchased with her own earning for her sibling was termed manhoos, bad luck. But her brother stood up for her, wore the clothes and even danced with Nirmal. For this resident of Mandi, Himachal Pradesh, this incident was neither isolated nor the worst. Nirmal's husband had died due to heart attack in 1989 at the age of 30. For a year, she was made to live in a dimly lit room without even a fan. The outcasting of widows is common practice and Nirmal's case was no different. After her husband's death, she was not allowed to wear colorful clothes, eat with the rest of the family, attend functions or do anything that even remotely resembled a normal life. To break out this subjugation, Nirmal decided to take matters into her own hands. She joined Social Uplift through Rural Action, Sutra, an NGO where she was trained and hired as an accountant at a monthly salary of rupees 350. This process of fighting for her own rights and independence has catapulted Nirmal into impacting the lives of more than 16,000 widows. This process of fighting for her own rights and independence has catapulted Nirmal into impacting the lives of more than 16,000 widows, unmarried and divorced women. In 2005, she formed Ekal Nari Shakti Sangathan (ENSS) to lead the upheaval battle and bring policy level changes. लोगों ने कहा कि मैं अपने पति को खा गई. People told me I had taken my husband's life. They said I couldn't bear him any children and my buri nazar, evil eye, had taken his life at such a young age. These were the harassing words for Nirmal. Her own parents refused to stand by her and her in-laws treated her as a burden. She was on the verge of taking her life, but one friend saved her by introducing her to the NGO that was working towards women's welfare. Once she was independent, she wanted to help others also. She was basically searching and finding her own identity. Nirmal was expecting to get a job at the clerical level at Sutra. social upliftment, rural action. Given that she was only a metric pass, to her surprise, she was offered the accountant post. At the time, she didn't know how many zeros were there in lakhs and had never seen a check or a computer in her life. However, she was willing to learn, and so over the next 15 years, she learned the ropes of auditing, tallying, accounting, and more. For the first time, she was allowed to make mistakes. People took interest in her. Her input and work were valuable. Theirs was a small village, so the word soon spread about her work. She was frowned upon, and people left no chance to humiliate her. But she was earning and living at the Sutra shelter, so she didn't care what people said. During that period, several widows approached her to share their issues. Their conditions were worse than Nirmal. Children of the widows were left starved. She really wanted to help them. Meanwhile, her parents, ashamed at their daughter's newfound independence, asked her to quit the job and offered her a monthly allowance of rupees 500. But Nirmal refused because she is of the thinking that as soon as you depend on someone for your financial needs, they tend to behave as if you owe them your life. And she knew her parents would restrict her freedom if she took their money. She wanted to build her identity and live freely. Then she wanted to show what happens, what miracles can be done when women join hands. In 2005, life took another pleasant turn for Nirmal. Sutra asked her to attend a widows' meet in Rajasthan in 2005. The aim of the meet was to march to the Chief Minister's house and ask for the rights of single women. It was an eye-opening event for Nirmal, who had never even travelled out of Himachal. Dressed in the beige sari, she was surprised to see other women from different states wearing colourful clothes and jewelry. Standing amid women who had similar stories, Nirmal realized the power of binding communities and the importance of women being confident and unapologetic for the first time. No matter which part of the country they belonged to, single women faced biases from the society. Why are the widowers allowed to remarry and move on with their lives while women are expected to commit sati or live in isolation? So many questions were raised that she otherwise would have never known had it not been for Sutra. So upon returning from this march, she called for a similar meet and great sessions of all widows in Mandi district. She collaborated with various NGOs to spread the word. Close to 120 widows from different districts like Lahore and Spiti turned up, despite the rumor that Nirmal was out there to traffic the woman. They met at Sutra's premises and as a mark of silent protest put on bindis and sindoor. With a simple gesture, these women who had not stepped foot outside since their husband's death were now undoing years of patriarchy. It was historic in every sense. What followed was monthly meetings of women and awareness workshops. They discussed a number of things at these workshops. For instance, husbands who are missing can be declared dead after 7 years provided a missing persons FIR is filed. She taught the women how to file FIRs, formed self-help groups to start small businesses, told them how to put their point forward in panchayat meetings, and so on. She also made a WhatsApp group to post job vacancies, and ever since 2005, more than 150 women are able to get jobs, she says. Next, the organization also replaced the terms Vidva, widow, with Ekal Mahila, single woman, in all its rallies, workshops and awareness session with the villages. This Ekal Mahila word pushed the villages to change the way they saw widows. Nirmal and her team drafted a 25-point plan of demand for land, income, jobs, seats in election, pensions and more. In 2008, close to 3,500 women marched on foot from Dhami to the Chief Minister's house in Shimla to propose the aforementioned plan. Rains, hailstorms, and hours worth of waiting outside his residence were not enough to break their determination. They were finally allowed inside the premises to speak with the former CM Prem Kumar Dhumal, and three of their demands, health insurance, ration card, and social security, were implemented statewide. They had single women aged between 19 and 90 who were asking for basic rights and dignity. The pension was increased from rupees 200 to 300 for widows. Single women got their own ration cards, and health checks up to rupees 5 lakh were to be free for single women. This episode established their presence and credibility across the state. Finally, someone was listening to them. Under the Mother Teresa Ashay Matri Sambal Yojana, the financial assistance for the education of children of destitute and single women was increased from rupees 500 to rupees 6,000. Sarita Devi from Kangra district, one of such beneficiary, says she was divorced to her husband 15 years ago due to domestic issue. She was ostracized from her community for not being a good wife. That's when ENSS came to her rescue. She had no education to apply for a job, and her ex-husband refused to send her any alimony for her two daughters. The organizations helped her get back on her feet by giving her a job and scheme benefits. Today, both her daughters are in college and their entire education is funded through the education scheme. She also stood for Panchayat at elections this year and won. Additionally, thanks to Nirmal's effort, the rule according to which only women with less than rupees 7,000 annual income can avail government scheme was altered. Today, women who earn up to rupees 35,000 are eligible for the same, she says, and she is very thankful to Nirmal. For Nirmal's such policy level changes created a larger impact, as now local government departments and villagers had started paying attention to ENSS. Some of the members even stood for Panchayat elections and won. However, the victories, irrespective of how small or huge they are, come at a cost. Even today, both Nirmal and her organization face backlash for questioning traditions. But Nirmal believes that if she could stand up to her relatives at her brother's wedding when she was 30, there is nothing in this world that can dampen her spirits at 56. Her next goal is to give land rights to single women, and she will give it. I salute the work of Nirmal Chandel, really a great deterministic social reformer. Meet you tomorrow with next Wow Woman. Till then, keep smiling, be happy, bye-bye.